As fires rage and decimate people's homes, people's lives, people have died in these fires. It's serious. And what does the Republican Party do? Do they decide, you know what, this is our moment, we're gonna lead? No. They sit around and point fingers and make blame and make everything political.
Donald Trump has waved the white flag, abandoned our families. Donald Trump has given up. I'm not gonna shut down the country. I'm gonna shut down the virus.
They sit around and point fingers and make blame and make everything political.
There are renewed calls tonight for gun control after this past weekend's mass shooting at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas. 8 people were killed there. Democrats in Congress say it's time for a federal response to gun violence. President Biden says if Congress were to pass a new gun control bill, he'd sign it immediately.
They sit around and point fingers and make blame and make everything political.
The voters of California passed Prop 1 to spend their tax dollars to build more dams, to store more water. You know who tore them down? Gavin Newsom.
Unbelievable.
This rests directly on what he has done. Gavin Newsom has got to focus on the infrastructure. He should listen to President Trump when it comes to water policy, when it comes to vegetation, because I've been in a situation watching Californians die, discussing this, and President Trump was right when he told them then, you've got to prepare ahead of time. Wind's going to come. A fire's going to come. But the only way it progresses to be bigger and stronger if it has fuel. You've got to knock the fuel down.
Donald Trump decides to attack, to lay blame for the fire or the lack of getting the fire under control. Sometimes fires rage.
And we've gotten a hold of a memo that was written by the LA City Fire Chief weeks ago. This is dated December 4th, 2024, and it provides an assessment of how the city fire department is dealing with all of those budget cuts.
Sometimes fires rage. The Santa Ana winds are insane oftentimes this time of year.
The fire department is facing an unprecedented operational challenge due to the elimination of critical civilian positions and a $7 million reduction in overtime. And the fire department uses that money, or did use that money each year, to pay for a variety of disaster preparedness functions, including preparing its air operations and its pilots to be able to do water drops.
And they weren't prepared. Then when the fire came, the infrastructure itself, the evacuation, the hydrants, the water for that, they were not prepared for that.
Firefighters are fighting fires in 99-mile-an-hour winds, hurricane-strength winds that just fuel and intensify those fires.
The fire chief wrote on December 4th, weeks ago, the reduction in V hours, meaning those overtime hours, has severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, including wildfires.
No amount of water in the world is going to make their jobs easier.
Just 2 weeks ago, the fire department of Los Angeles decided to not do their annual testing of the fire hydrants. Karen Bass, the mayor, cut $17.5 million from the fire department. You know, why?
No amount of water in the world is going to make their jobs easier.
Gavin Newsom has been in office for more than 12 years. The lieutenant governor or governor.
The insanity of Donald Trump going to be president again, going to be in a position to disseminate money, distribute money when there's natural disasters.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Yes, sir.
California's a mess. We're giving billions and billions of dollars for forest fires in California. There's no reason for those fires to be like they are. They're leaving them dirty. It's a disgraceful thing. Old trees are sitting there rotting and dry, and instead of cleaning it up, they don't touch them. They leave them, and we end up with these massive fires that we're paying hundreds of billions of dollars for to fix, and the destruction is incredible. So I think California ought to get their act together and clean up their forests and manage their forests, because it's disgraceful.
And President Trump is ordering FEMA to not send any more money to California to fight
forest fires. Trump tweeted he told FEMA to stop funding wildlife recovery in the state until, quote, they get their act together. He is blaming improper forest management for last year's deadly fires.
They sit around and point fingers and make blame and make everything political, rather than just getting to the work to get things done for the people of California.
With a Democratic governor, Democratic mayors, Democratic city councils, and a Democratic justice system, the progressives have darkened the land of perpetual sunshine. This week's devastating wildfires are the pinnacle of Democratic incompetence. Environmentalists and politicians refuse to clear the underbrush that fueled the flames. A reservoir in Pacific Palisades was shockingly closed for repair. This is a reckoning. The voters must demand total change. Democrats have enjoyed one-party rule in California for too long.
Donald Trump was in the Senate yesterday, outside the Senate chamber, spewed lie after lie. I'm going to play the clip. You can skip ahead. There'll be a timer on it, but it is seriously just to continue with the metaphor of fires. It's just a fire hose of lying.
It's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that.
A lot here that's nonsense. I got it done from the federal side, but he didn't want to sign it. If you got it done, then it was done. Does a governor override the signing of federal aid money? What are you talking about, Donald Trump?
President Trump has done more for California. He put an executive order in to allow more water to be pumped through the Delta, to come through the Central Valley, to come to Southern California. And you know who fought him? Gavin Newsom.
President Trump promising more water to Valley farmers, to more farmland. But how does it work? And could Governor Newsom stand in his way?
Does a governor override the signing of federal aid money? What are you talking about, Donald Trump?
We begin with what could be the first knockout blow to the water wars in California.
Okay, because I'm going to be signing a very important piece of legislation that is going to give you a lot of water and a lot of dam and a lot of everything, and you'll be able to farm your land.
What are you talking about, Donald Trump?
It ended with the historic signing of a federal water memorandum that could put the wheels in motion to deliver more water to Valley farmers. It's been a fight for farmers over generations, but now, with a new mix of science and technology, President Trump is promising to allocate more water to more farmland to produce more revenue for the region and the world.
This is a big step.
With the stroke of a pen, President Trump is looking to produce a new lifeline of water to Valley farmers.
Trump is conflating two entirely unrelated things: the conveyance of water to Southern California and supply from local storage. But broadly speaking, there is no water shortage in Southern California right now, despite Trump's claims that he would open some imaginary spigot.
Governor of California Gavin Newsom made a humiliating blunder when speaking to a reporter from NBC, where he slammed Donald Trump for spreading disinformation after the president-elect criticized Newsom for not ensuring the reservoirs were full to fight the fires.
Well, what's Governor Newsom's response to all of this? Well, he's announced an independent inquiry, but he also claims there's misinformation, and he's spoken about cheap political shots.
The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them.
Yeah, but it wasn't misinformation. The reservoir wasn't full.
I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt and reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation.
Online commentators slammed the governor's lies, with this person saying He lies, gets called out on the lie, realized he can't get away with the lie, retracts.
It's just a fire hose of lying.
Well, there's no question the 117 million gallon reservoir was offline, was out of commission. Fire hydrants simply have had no water in them. And this has been widely reported. And the Wall Street Journal also reported that the smelt fish water protections led to billions of gallons of water being flushed out to the Pacific Ocean each year, along with chronic water shortages.
Sometimes fires rage. The Santa Ana winds are insane, oftentimes this time of year.
Today, the governor publicly aired a problem that he said he had with Donald Trump during the wildfire season years ago when Trump was president, which contradicts statements that he's made about their working relationship.
Standing in front of a bunch of Biden-Harris lawn signs and criticized Donald Trump's handling of California's natural disasters.
I had to sit there and make phone calls and beg the president personally to do the right thing and reimburse the people of our state because we had unprecedented wildfires.
This contradicting what Newsom said about Trump back in 2020.
And I can only say this, and I say this on many, many occasions. There's not one phone call that I have made to the president where he hasn't quickly responded. And almost in every instance, he's responded favorably in terms of addressing the needs, the emergency needs of the state through COVID and over the course of the last at least year and a half that I've been governor as it relates to these wildfires.
I had to beg him to make the case, to step up and step in to help other people. The hell is that? This is a serious moment.
The governor is complimentary of the president, consistently providing emergency relief for California in disaster after disaster.
I want to thank you and acknowledge the work that you've done. I had to sit there and make phone calls and beg the president personally to do the right thing.
It's just a fire hose of lying.
I want to thank you and acknowledge the work that you've done to be immediate in terms of your response to our FMAG request. Emergency service, this may be a record that the state's received in the FMAG support, as well as the major disaster declaration, which you referenced on August 22nd, which was profoundly significant, not only to help us support our mutual aid system, but also individuals that are in desperate need of support.
Firefighters are fighting fires in 99-mile-an-hour winds, hurricane-strength winds that just fuel and intensify those fires. No amount of water in the world is going to make their jobs easier.
Well, there's no question the 117 million gallon reservoir was offline, was out of commission. Fire hydrants simply have had no water in them. And this has been widely reported. But LA, that we know is home to Hollywood's sunshine, wealth and opportunity, well, it's now the global face of woke mismanagement.
But they're dealing with it like always.
The biggest and saddest question now is, how does LA rebuild from this?
They're dealing with it like always.